Blue people of Kentucky. Sounds like an urban legend. Well, it's not. It's true. When I'm talking about blue people, I mean real blue people. Not like the Smurfs or these guys. The Blue People of Troublesome Creek, Kentucky is a story about the Fugate family. They were carriers of a recessive genetic trait that caused their skin to look blue. The first blue person was Martin Fugate. He immigrated from France and married a red-headed woman from Kentucky in the 1820s. That's where they settled to raise and grow their family. The bluish color is a byproduct of methemoglobinemia. The word is hard to say, but it has a simple meaning. It is a blood disorder when you have an abnormal amount of methemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein in red blood cells that carries and distributes oxygen to the body. The Fugate family had a recessive genetic trait that caused their blood to not have the enzyme diaphrase. The enzyme is responsible for the oxygen to bind to the red blood cells. Lack of oxygen in the blood gave their skin a blue tint. There were rumors about blue people roaming the hills of Kentucky. On a cold night in 1960, a nurse by the name of Ruth Pendergrass was working late. A woman showed up at the clinic that had an eerie shade of blue to her skin. She needed help from someone right away. She called Dr. Madison Catlin. Dr. Catlin was a hematologist at the University of Kentucky Lexington Medical Clinic. The hematologist studies and analyzes blood and blood disorders. Since this was back in the 60s and when FaceTime wasn't around, by the time Dr. Catlin came to town, the blue lady was gone. He waited around for a few days, hoping that she would return. As luck would have it, two teenagers showed up late one night to the clinic. Both were the same shade of blue as the ladies, were brother and sister. Dr. Catlin and the nurse Pendergrass talked to the children, and the two teens told the story of their family. The problem was fixed when Dr. Catlin found a solution. He gave them a shot of methylene blue. It put the enzyme back in their bloodstream. The report showed within seconds the blue color began to disappear and a normal-looking pinkish tint took over. Dr. Catlin gave the family pills of methylene blue and helped the family to keep a normal-looking skin tone. Like my family and your family, genetic traits are passed down from parents to their children. This has gone on for generations and generations. The story about the Fugates ties in with what we have learned about genetics. As you see in Dr. Catlin's chart, each marriage and their offspring produce different results. Two carriers of the recessive genetic trait produce 4 blue offsprings and 3 normal colored children. Those children were not blue, but were still possible carriers of that recessive trait. One of the carriers of the trait married another non-carrier, and they produced 13 children, and none were blue. One of the 13 children who carried the recessive trait married another person who carried the recessive trait. They had 8 children with only one baby. Being in an isolated location with no main roads, the natural ability to have the blue genetic trait find a match became much higher than today. This is because during those times, families married families, and the cousins sometimes married cousins. As development of roads and railroads that allowed more travel of people, the gene pool became more diverse and the possibility of 2 recessive blue genes finding another was drastically reduced. This is rarely seen in today's medical arena, but it is a story every doctor reads about in medical school.